Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ascension School Podcast, version number 2. This is our Back to School edition. So I have our principal, Mr. Terry Mullaney, with me. I also have our wonderful school secretary, Susie Thomas, in the building.
Yes.
How you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for having us, Teague.
Awesome. Well, look, so what these podcasts are about is to give our Ascension School community the information that they might be looking for, maybe they don't have, give it to them in an easy way. They can just listen to work in a podcast. So our first podcast went over great. And what we want to try to do is do this every so often when we have new news, new things we want to get out there to the community. So this one's our back to school edition. So let's talk about that, Terry. Let's talk about back to school. What should the parents expect?
First, excitement. All right. We've been working hard all summer, probably harder this summer than we have in previous summers just because of how we ended last year. So this has been a lot to do to get ready to prepare to come back, and that's included hiring new teachers. And we're still, awaiting some direction, but in terms of how we're going to reopen. But
Sure.
We could talk a little bit more about that in a second.
Yeah, so have you heard? I mean, has the Archdiocese come down with a mask mandate yet, or do we know what we're going to have to do?
Great question. So we're still waiting. We haven't received final word, but I know a lot of parents have questions about, because the CDC has put out some guidance, Governor Beshear has put out some guidance, and so we're getting some questions. But overall, the Archdiocese has not given us final
and so that's how that works. So the
right.
Archdiocese will tell us how we have to proceed, correct?
Right. And most of the time it comes down in the form of recommendations, but it's all going to flow from the health department, and we're still awaiting that. And it's getting closer, obviously.
Where do you land here? What are you hoping happens?
Well, obviously we want to keep everyone safe.
Sure.
That's top priority. However, I will say that watching last year, again, data suggests, and this gets contentious, and I don't want to be contentious, but we just didn't have a lot of students who contracted COVID
Sure.
or were really sick from it. And again, the main thing is we want to keep everyone safe.
Right.
Where I come down on it is I want to see kids happy and healthy in the classroom, which means, at this point, masks seem optional in terms of if you've been vaccinated. But that's only for 12 and over.
Right.
So any student under 12, I'm waiting to see what they say about that. But me, I really want to see kids just enjoying school again the way they always have. I think masks have, they've told the students told us last year repeatedly, they're uncomfortable, they're distracting.
Sure.
Teachers said the same thing.
Sure.
So there's a lot to consider there.
It's been a while since I've had to wear a mask, and I did a shoot yesterday where I had to wear one. It was over at the Nazareth home, and I didn't feel comfortable. It was like, I haven't had to wear this in a while. It was awful. Right.
So that's where I land with that is just I want them to be safe and healthy, but at the same time, I really hope that they can do that without masks on.
Well, I can tell you, being as entrenched as we are in the Archdiocese is being inundated with people pleading with them not to make kids wear masks.
Right.
I know that's the sentiment now. We'll see what happens, but I know that they're getting a lot of that there.
We will, and like I said, it's a very contentious issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are, and rightfully so, there are parents who really strongly want all the kids wearing masks, and I don't want to get involved in that. I mean,
Sure.
I think some of it's political now.
It is.
And I really want to stay out of that.
Yeah.
As the principal of the school, I don't like talking about where I stand with things, other than I already have. So
Right.
in saying that I do want to see kids happy and healthy at school
Sure.
without masks would be fantastic if that's possible.
All right. So what else? So back to school. What else do parents need to know?
Susie, you want to anything?
Sure.
Yeah, Susie's got some good stuff for you.
As many of you have probably already know that I emailed all of the back to school forms out the first week of July and asked that they be returned by August 2nd. There was some confusion on the school fees. There are 3 options to do the school fees. There is an ACH debit that you can pay in full. There is an ACH debit that you can pay in 5 months, August 30th through December 30th. Or the third option is to pay with a check in full by August 2nd. So if any of you have any questions about those, you can email me or you can call me at school. I will be out tomorrow to next Wednesday on vacation.
Good.
But yes, looking forward to it. But you know, as you know, a couple of years ago, all of our forms went online, and this has been a challenge for me.
But you've killed it. You've done great.
Well, I'm still working on that. But like I say, if you have any questions on any of the forms, you know, please contact me.
Even on vacation.
Yeah, even on vacation.
I'll give you your cell phone number in a
There you
second.
go.
And I also just want to let you all know, and mainly the new families, you know, we do have a weekly newsletter called The Lowdown that I will send the link to you every Tuesday. And just to please check that out, because there is a lot of information in that you need to know. So I just to remind you to check The Lowdown every Tuesday.
Awesome.
And then also, the families that are currently there know about keeping your lunch accounts up to date. I will be sending the new families the information on how to log on so that they can put money into their students' lunch accounts.
And you do that all via online?
Yes, that is all online. They will send you notices every Monday when your child's lunch account is behind.
Gotcha.
To bring it into the positive. So,
Awesome.
yes, looking forward to another great year 34 for me. So
34.
yes,
Good grief. That's
34. Crazy. So we're getting many new families this year, which is always exciting.
Hey, and we've got new teachers here, Susie, that probably started Ascension at like JK, that you've seen go all the way through. Now they're a teacher at Ascension, so that's kind of crazy.
Okay, thanks, T.
Well, I'm just saying. So let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah,
Terry.
sure.
Let's talk about some of the new teachers we have this year.
Sure. We talked a lot in the last podcast about some teacher turnover and the roots of that. But yeah, we were really excited to welcome our new kindergarten teacher, Autumn Shell. Now, Autumn stepped in for us last year in second grade when we had a turnover in the mid-year and did a fantastic job with our second
my daughter
graders.
was in that class. She loved Autumn, so that was a good experience for us.
Yeah, so Miss Autumn Shell has been incredible, and she's been around all summer preparing. She's so excited to take on this new role as our kindergarten
And
teacher.
she's a shell.
And she's a shell.
So
which
she's got
means-
some support there if needed.
It's the whole Shell family, which we love. And in first grade, Stacy Stiller, who is an Ascension grad. I don't know if you were there with.
I was not.
All right, I just thought I'd
But her
check.
younger siblings, I was.
Okay. Well, Stacy joins us from the public school system in Indiana, and we're really excited to have her. She's got, I think, 15 years of experience.
Oh, nice.
So very driven, and again, very excited to have her. Now, in that first grade class, this year, it's the biggest first grade class we've ever had.
How many?
28.
Okay.
And so we've brought in 2 assistants who are phenomenal.
Did you turn any away?
Any students?
Was there a waiting list?
There was a waiting list.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great.
And so, but with 28, we figured, well, we should have 2 assistants.
Awesome.
And those 2 assistants are Sherry Strohmeyer,
Okay.
who's been a long-time member of Ascension, her and her family.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really, really nice to have her, and she's taught pre-K for many years. She's very well-versed in how to run, a pre-K program
Okay.
in first grade. And our other first grade assistant is Kathy Tudor, who was previously at Christian Academy, Rock Creek. She's tons of years of experience, just phenomenal. So that first grade team
Awesome.
is just awesome. Yeah, so
Great.
second grade is Hannah Duff, and she's coming to us. She's recently been teaching in Guatemala.
Oh, wow.
She's got 4 or 5 years of experience in teaching. She's very excited as well. So we're glad. And her cousins?
The O'Rourke's.
The O'Rourke's.
Oh.
Attended Ascension.
Yeah. I coached Brian O'Rourke.
Okay.
Huh.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
there you
so-
go.
So Hannah's got a lot of connections at Ascension as well.
Awesome.
And she's very excited. Fifth grade is Christina Crush, who lives in
Yeah, she lives in St. Regis Park.
lives in St. Regis Park. And she's coming to us from another Catholic school. She's got 5 years of experience
Awesome.
teaching.
Yeah, she's
so-
fantastic. So
Yeah.
that's a great one there.
Yeah, it's just nice to have her close.
Sure.
So she's already part of the community, and now she's really part of the community, so we welcome her. And our sixth grade teacher, middle school language arts, is Hannah Pennington. Most of the Ascension community knows the Penningtons.
Yeah, this one blows my mind because I coached Hannah in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th, and 8th grade in basketball. She was a fantastic basketball player. And the fact that now she's going to be my son's teacher is making me feel old.
Yeah, that's what happens to us all. Most
Exactly.
definitely.
But she'll be great.
Yeah.
She's Ascension through and through. She's passionate about everything she does. So I'm excited to see I'm excited to see how she does with the kids, and it should be great.
Right. She's bouncing off the walls. I mean, she's already, hey, can I paint the classroom? Can I do this? I mean,
awesome.
She's there all the time. So it's great. But she's an Ascension grad too, obviously. So that's the team. And again, very excited to have them all. The enthusiasm is from all of them is just contagious.
Now you're looking for a music teacher.
We are still looking for a music teacher. So anyone out there listening, if you have any leads for us, we'd sure appreciate it. Then that's a part-time position. It can be flexible on the days, but we obviously need to know that sooner than later.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that'd be awesome. So if you're interested at all, you think you could be a part-time music teacher, please let Terry know. I mean, look, we're big on the specials at Ascension, but obviously you have to have the right teachers to do it too.
Right.
So you don't just throw them in there just to do it. So anyone who knows anyone, please pass it along.
Absolutely. And speaking of specials, it's great. That's one thing for certain that I know the students missed, and sort of the faculty last year. All the specials, PE, Spanish.
Oh, I'm sure Darla's ready to get going again.
Darla's ready.
PE.
She's excited to get back in there and
Yeah.
get the kids moving. So, it's just great to know that the specials are coming back.
Sure.
We've had a lot of questions about that. Will the specials be back? So
Right.
yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
Good.
The students need that.
Good.
So, yeah.
So from a teacher standpoint, what do you do to prepare them for the upcoming school year?
So this coming Thursday, next Thursday, which is the 5th of August, is the new teacher orientation. So we'll bring them in. We've assigned them some mentor teachers who've been at Ascension for a while, and they're just going to work with them all, throughout the day. We're going to get them familiar with the facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big kickoff for us. It's just getting them in, getting them used to the school. And then all the rest of the teachers will come back on the 9th. But the other faculty members are coming back next week, obviously, to start preparing classrooms and get ready. I mean, there's a lot to do in the classrooms this year. So just because we've had to move classrooms. Last year, because of COVID, teachers had to shift and we needed more space, but all that's sort of collapsed back to the way it was. So there's just a lot of moving around.
So let me ask you this. So one of the things that Ascension does a little bit different that I think's great because it makes sense in my brain is you have teachers that specialize in certain areas. So even at kind of the younger ages, and I don't know how young, you'll have to tell me, but they specialize in certain subjects. And so the kids move to different teachers. So you may have one teacher that specializes in math, language arts, whatever it may be. Have you found that to be a positive thing once you implemented that change?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. I mean,
to me, it makes sense on the surface, right? Because if you're teaching, you don't have to teach everything and kind of know it all. You can really focus on a subject and really be an expert on it.
One that you're passionate about.
Right.
I've never met, well, I shouldn't say that. I think 3 people that I've met in my life who are really well versed in just about every subject.
Right.
It's rare.
It is rare.
Most of us had something we were really good at.
Yeah.
That subject.
Sure.
So but the students gain from that because if someone's teaching what it is they're passionate about, you're going to get a lot more out of it.
Gotcha.
And so that's what we're seeing from the students every day. I mean, just look at Donna Jaco, our science teacher in grades
Perfect
K through 5. I mean, she's done amazing things in that science lab, and she sees all those kids, and she just teaches science, and she gets to focus on it, and it's all hands-on. It's all project-based learning stuff. I mean, she's got gardens, and she's got the butterfly garden. She's got a garden that they actually, get food from and get to make things like
That's
salsa,
awesome.
and so they're seeing the results of that.
Sure.
But she keeps them. I mean, you walk into that science lab and but it goes, Trinity Shell, Miss Shell, and the 3 through 5 math teacher. I mean, so passionate, and the project-based learning stuff she does, incredible. Ms. Schmidt, our 3 through 5 language arts teacher, same thing. They're just teaching what they love, and the students, they feel it, they know it. And I think they learn a lot more from it, and our test results show it. I think that actually you can find a tangent between our departmentalization efforts and our National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence Award. Test scores go up because students know more, they learn more, they're more excited about it. So
and this isn't something all grade schools do, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure some do, but it's been nice, and we've done that, Susie. I mean, what is that? This is our 4th or 5th year.
About that, yes.
Doing departmentalization in those grades. So, yeah, it's opened up it's just phenomenal. It really is from the teacher perspective, from the student perspective. Because I could tell you when I got there 8 years ago, Teague, and I went in those classrooms, and you had teachers who were self-contained all the way through from K through 5, and the teachers were supposed to be teaching every subject.
Right.
Science got lost a lot.
I'm sure.
And it was pretty basic. It's like,
Yeah.
open your textbook, go to
Right.
page 7. We're going to learn about
Well,
photosynthesis.
You're going to lean on the textbooks and the curriculum a lot when you're doing that.
Right. And there weren't no labs and things like that. So science always got lost. And of course, when I got there, I was looking at the time we were using Terra Nova, the Terra Nova test.
Yeah.
And so I was looking, really digging into the data on that and thinking, wow, our science score's so low.
Right.
And, then you can look at every subject area and come up with the same thing, because a teacher who's really passionate about language arts and they have to teach math too.
Yeah.
Math scores were low last year in such and such grade. I wonder, So the data provided everything I needed to say, we just need to departmentalize.
That's awesome.
So the teachers were more excited. And then they also, by the way, then they get to go pick conferences to go to in their areas that they're passionate about.
And they can do some
and
PD.
focus on it. Exactly. So
It's awesome. Sounds like a great setup. How's our scores been, sir, as of late? Kind of just as a school wide.
you mean, we switched, you're talking about the test scores? Yeah, so MAP test scores, this was the first year we've done a whole year of them. Now, this is only the second year we've done MAP testing, but it got cut short last March of 2020. I'm already 19 or 20?
19 and 20.
Yeah, 1920 school year. Remember, we got out, so we didn't
Sure.
get to finish
Sure.
the MAP. So this year we did, but it was also very shaky because
Yeah, it
you
means
had,
a lot of home learning and everything else.
it was because when we were not in school this year during MAP testing, that made it a little difficult. We pushed the date back,
Sure.
or made it longer, and then
Yep.
we had some students coming in. It was strained. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to look at the validity and say, yeah, this is accurate. I'm reluctant to jump to this is correct. I'm not looking at students right now anyways. I want another full year of some
Makes sense.
solid
Sure.
testing
Makes sense.
without the anxiety of COVID and everything else the students have been through. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they went through a whole lot this year, and I think we all do. We all would just like to see students in a relaxed state.
Sure.
But speaking of the MAP test, I mean, that's one thing we're going to be doing this year as teachers when they get back is sort of working with the students and the faculty and parents too, setting up a way to inspire the students to be excited about it as opposed to, oh, we got to go take this test.
Yeah, how do you do that though?
Well, the ideas that have been thrown out are things like, doing, ice cream stuff, or, hey,
Yeah.
we got testing coming up. We're going to almost like a pep rally.
Okay.
And really firing them up and
Yeah,
trying to get them excited about it, because it's only doing them good. And I don't know that students fully understand it. The other piece of it is just simple. It's just educating them a little bit more. So I actually, one of the ideas is to have all the students come into the gym before we start the MAP testing and talk to them about it and just say, hey, it's very important that you try your best, because this is a reflection of not how smart you are.
Sure.
It's just your growth.
Sure.
How much are you growing?
Right.
And if you're not, then we need to look at what we need to do
Yeah.
better.
Exactly.
So, but we
It's
need
only gonna help you.
You can help us, right? You students, you can help us by getting a good night's sleep, being fed. But again, I don't want to place too much importance on test. This whole thing, but keeping in mind that MAP is so different than Terra Nova. I think Terra Nova. Well, MAP testing again, it just really focuses on growth as opposed to what you know.
Okay.
And when we look at that data, we're looking to make sure that everyone is growing the way they need to be, no matter what. And the test being online, it slows down and speeds up depending on how well the student's doing.
So it's a lot more individualized.
It is complete. It's awesome. It's just awesome. And there's so much data we can get from it. But again, and being completely transparent and honest with you, I'm not, last year was such a topsy-turvy year for us, for everyone, that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I had the time, energy, or to put into looking at the data as deep as I normally would. But we're going to be doing that and hoping we can have a solid year to base everything on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Susie, let's talk about some dates. What do parents need to know as far as this upcoming school year? What are our important dates on the calendar?
Okay, we will be having a kindergarten and first grade camp on Thursday, August 12th.
What is that? So that's when the kids come in and just get to meet their teacher and that kind of thing?
Exactly, yes. Meet the teacher, get to know the school, because it's new for a lot of them.
What do they need to bring? Just show up?
And yes, they just show up. They don't need to bring a thing.
Okay.
And then when that is over, there's a parent orientation for those families
Okay.
at 5 p.m. And then for our other grades, our grades 2 through 5, their back to school night is on August 16th.
16.
Yeah, August 16th. Grades 2 through 5 is 5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
And then grades 6 through 8 is 6:30 to 7:30
Okay.
p.m.
Awesome.
And Mr. Mullaney can probably elaborate a little bit, where they meet, I believe, in the church.
Right, it'll be in the church.
Kind of like normal to where but okay, let's assume we're a new family and don't know exactly what we're doing. So this is a deal where you sit in the church, the teachers get up and tell a little bit about what they plan on doing that year. Is that correct?
And typical years we do that. Again, I'm waiting guidance to see, because what we like to do is actually I'll say some things, some of the other key administrative faculty will say a couple of things, and then the parents will leave and go to their actual classrooms.
Oh yeah,
and the teacher's talking there.
Yep.
But it just depends. If we're not allowed, if we're still social distancing, then obviously we'll stay at the church so people can spread out. So that information will be forthcoming.
Okay.
But yeah, it's overall just a big information night, giving the opportunity for students and parents to bring in supplies and just be in the school.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You ask if they could bring anything, and the parents can bring in the supplies when the children come to camp, and then they don't have
just
to
get that done. They don't have to bring it first day of
exactly.
school. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
probably easier that way.
Right.
So what about? I know we normally do an iPad meeting. We going to do anything like that this year?
If we do, it'll be later in September.
Okay.
We'd like to get the school year started, and parents, because obviously in grades 3 through 5, the students are taking the iPads home. So that gives that opportunity for parents to actually say, I have these questions, and write them down, and then so we wait until September.
How's that been? Has that worked out well?
Very well. What specifically?
Well, just, look, I know there was a lot of anxiety is not the right word, but a lot of people thinking, man, my third grader, bringing this thing home every day, it's going to get torn up, and is this going to work? But it seems like it's worked.
It worked really well. Now, I'm not going to say that some of these kids don't tear up their iPad covers quite a bit, but
right.
And there's a lot of I won't say what's on those screens. I don't know what it is, but kids, tend to wipe.
Gunk.
Yeah, actually, gunk. It's good gunk. Great word. Yeah. So yeah, but no, it's gone really, really well. We've had very few issues with, occasionally a broken cord or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah, no, they've taken care of them, and everyone's, worked hard to make sure that those tools stay intact.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Susie, how about the main dates, like our fall breaks, the spring breaks? When's all that falling this year?
Okay. Back to the supply list.
Good.
Those are available on the website. You can find those
Where at?
there at ascension-parish.com and go to school.
Perfect.
And you will see those supply lists there. Also, you will see a full school calendar there that's great to print out and have on your refrigerator at work so you know what's happening at school. Of course, we start school on Wednesday, August 18th.
Awesome.
Our hours are 7:55 to 2:45. And try to avoid those tardies.
Yes.
They have to be in their seat at 7:55 a.m. or they are counted tardy. So it's very, very important that you get your children there on time. Sometimes it's just a minute or two late for people, but you wouldn't believe just how that really affects the classroom.
So let's talk about drop-off. Are we doing the same thing we did in the previous years, or are we changing that at all? Or because I know obviously we have the drop-off in the front of the school where the cars go around, but a lot of people go in the back too. How would you like to see all that work?
Well, I think this year we're going to revert to what we've done in the past, which is, and for new parents, they won't know what that is, but drop-off and students handling patrol, and it'll just be a normal drop-off procedure in the mornings. Now, the other side was typically early drop-off for the cafe,
Right.
Which doors open at 7:10 a.m.
Yep.
Thinking that's that's exactly what we're gonna do again. We'll have early drop-off at 7:10, which has always been convenient for a lot of parents.
Oh yeah, they can get to work. Sure.
Right, and so that's their drop-off, and then starting at 7:30, the school doors are open, and everyone can start drop-off then.
Okay. So kind of reverting back to pre-COVID.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Makes
that's the
sense.
goal, unless something wild happens.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
No.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys have heard, but we had a summer festival. I don't know if either one of you were there, but it was a raging success, in my opinion. I know there was a lot of talk about who's going to show up. Is there people are actually going to come? It was nuts. To me, what the Community Ascension does is they show up, and they certainly showed up for this. It was a lot of fun. I don't know. It wasn't the fundraiser it was in the past, but that wasn't really the goal. The goal is more of getting the community back together, and it was fantastic. So the Lewises who put it together did an amazing job, and it was, obviously a lot of hands in there to help make all that work, but it was fantastic. So I don't know if you guys had heard that, but the festival went fantastic.
Yeah, I heard that. I was fly fishing in New
That's
Mexico.
right. You were in New Mexico. That's right.
Yep. So, and I needed that break. But no, they did. Of course, Lewis's and everyone who helped make that possible always do a fantastic job, and I'm so thankful, and we feel blessed as a community, obviously.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So it was a really good experience. What about August 12th? That's a back-to-school ice cream social. Is that right, Susie? Is that what I have down here?
Yes, that is correct. Put on by our PTO.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes. We also have there's a mass on, let's see, it's August 22nd. It's the back to school mass, the 10:30 a.m. mass that morning, and donuts and coffee following.
Awesome.
A community get together just to, welcome our new families and to get to know your classmates.
Love it. So what are we going to do fundraising wise this year? We're going to do EMS again?
As far as I know, I haven't. Laura Ridge, your wife, obviously, but for everyone out there, Laura Ridge does a phenomenal job heading up the PTO, and that, as far as I know, that is going to be the.
What
the
does that money go to, Terry? What's the importance of that fundraiser? Because we don't do a lot of them. We'll do a trivia night and a few other things, but we don't do a ton. Why is that important?
So all the money raised in the PTO goes to help with curriculum, technology. It funds so many different areas of the school. It really helps us to be able to do the amazing things we have done in the past. I mean, it buys projectors. It's bought iPads every year for the past 8 years, and helps us keep new iPads coming in. So it also helps pay for professional development for the teachers, which again, I mean, we spend. Pre-COVID, we spend so much money on teachers being able to go and get the professional development they need, and that comes from these fundraisers too. So it's huge, and we need all the help we can get to continue to grow that fund.
Some people really get into these fundraisers and do a ton. And there's other families that don't do a whole lot, but I think I'd like to stress the importance of getting involved there, because it's not just a slush fund. It's going to help your student. It's going to help every student in the school. So it's really, really important that people get involved.
Absolutely. The more help we can get, the better. And that ice cream social is a great, time to kick off and find out more about what the PTO needs. And Laura, like I said, just does a phenomenal job. But she always needs more help.
Yeah.
And I think our PTO could really use more people coming out and saying, instead of just helping here and there, just being a real big part of that. So please, if you are diehard Ascension, which I know most of you are, please come out to the ice cream social, find out more about what the PTO is about. That's from 4 to 6:30 on August 12th at Ascension, and try to help
that's
out.
an interesting comment, because so I'm the athletic director, so I'm on the athletic side. I'm going to touch on a few sports things here in a minute too, but I have no shortage of help. It's easy for me to get people to help on the athletic side, but for whatever reason, people want to complain about PTO stuff, but they don't want to help. So if you're hearing that, we really need people to just get involved. And if you have ideas and thoughts and you think things should be done differently, I know that door's open. We just need people to give opinions and to give just to get in there and help.
Yeah, we do. And I think the difference maybe between athletics and PTO is that their kids are actively involved in that.
Yep.
So they're going there anyways. Oh, I got to go watch basketball or soccer anyways,
Right.
so I might as well.
That makes sense.
And PTO is sort of behind the scenes. It's an extra, it's something extra, but it is, but I can't stress it enough. The importance of what the PTO does for the school as a whole, and it cannot be a one-person job. I mean, it takes 5, 6, 10 people. So again, Laura can talk more about it, and she will, I'm sure, at the ice cream social. I just hope a lot of people show up to that, and talk to her about the commitment. I know Laura has even come up with some creative suggestions about, the idea that maybe you just find groups of people who only want to help with one particular event.
Sure.
Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people help with EMS, and then they're sort of done.
Great committees.
Yeah, and some people help with trivia night, whatever, to break it up so you're not on all year, because it's a heavy commitment.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Susie emails me regularly about sports stuff, because people will be reaching out, right? So constantly they'll say, hey, are we doing this? We're doing that. So you've had a
Yes.
little bit of that this year, right?
Exactly.
So right now we're in the middle of girls volleyball. So we did tryouts last night. At the 3rd and 4th grade levels, we have 3 teams, which is fantastic.
I heard.
Our 5th and 6th grade level is a little light because, it's just numbers and classes. But 7th and 8th grade, we have 2 teams. So that was really good, too. We haven't had 2 teams at 7th and 8th grade in a long time. So that's a really good sign. And our number 1 team is going to be really good, so it's going to be fun to watch. We are getting ready to start K through 2nd grade soccer. And if you're involved in JK pre-K, you can get involved with that. So information will go on that very soon. Susie, you're going to be sending out an email here soon on that.
Okay, sounds good. And that was part of the importance. I tell you to look at the lowdown each week because Teague always sends me information about athletics and what's happening, what's going on, what sports going on. And so that's why it's important for
It's always in the
you
lowdown. Yep.
to check that out. Yes.
That's perfect. So we also have flag football happening right now, and then cross country will also happen as well. So please, really as of tomorrow, a few more sports will open up on game day. If you've not seen game day yet, it is the CSAA's website to sign up. It's gameday.lucsaa.net. You go there, and all the sports that are available for you at Ascension will be there. The one thing that people miss is you have to go in, create an account for yourself as a parent, and then you create an account for your child. Because at that point, we know how old your child is and what sports we should show them. Because we're not going to show you 7th and 8th grade girls volleyball if you have a kindergartner. So we need to know how old your child is, what gender they are, and then we can show you what sports are actually going on for your particular kid. So make sure you sign up at game day, sign up your individual account, and then make sure you add your player. All right, Terry, what am I missing? Back to school.
Susie just mentioned we do have some we talked about it in the first podcast, the DC trip coming up for 6th and 7th graders in October.
I'm excited about that. So
Well,
my son will be a part of that.
And so my daughter.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
6th and 7th.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. So Talon's jacked up. He's actually asked me about a few things. So I don't know. Are you guys going to go to the Vietnam Memorial?
Yes, they do.
So my dad is a Vietnam. Actually, he's holds several medals of honor from Vietnam. And there's going to be a couple names that he wants Talon to see if he can find.
It's awesome.
There.
Yeah,
So,
it's a big wall, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
But
So
it'll be fun for him to find those names for sure. But that trip's coming up, and then obviously we talked about the 8th grade trip to the Grand Canyon, which is scheduled for May. It's a ways off, but other than that, back to school wise. Nothing else.
I wanted to mention our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, they do have fundraisers. So just please support them if any of them approach you, because you will have a child that will be doing that same thing, and they'll be able to support your child. So
yeah, so
Huge.
when we do these fundraisers, so there's a couple different fundraisers. I guess there's the DC fundraiser, and then obviously the 8th grade fundraiser. And these are pretty expensive trips. So these fundraisers help tremendously kind of offset a little bit. It's not going to be everything, but a little bit of those costs. So to Susie's point, if you see any of those fundraisers, please help us support it because
Absolutely.
it may help a kid that might otherwise not get to go be able to go.
Right.
And I would like to say, just as myself, I finally got to make it to Washington, D.C. when we won the Blue Ribbon School of
right.
Excellence.
Yeah.
And that was my first time. And I learned more during that time that I was there than I ever did when I was in school from the books. So it is important that hands-on learning.
Well, that's interesting too. I mean, in your 53 years of life, that you've learned more in Washington D.C. from the experience than you did. And
You're being nice.
I am.
Okay, 53, and I've been there 33 years, going on 34.
Well, you were 20. Yeah, you were there 20 years old.
Right out of school.
I love it. So Terry, let me. This is. I probably shouldn't bring this up on a podcast, but a couple of things. Obviously, there's a little bit of unrest still in Washington, D.C. When the kids go, explain to me how that all works. I mean, they're going to be safe. So how does that work as far as the company that puts it on?
So Global Travel Alliance, GTA, is the company that does our Grand Canyon trip and did our previous D.C. trip. They keep in touch with this. I mean, they've got their finger on the pulse because they take trips all over the world.
Sure.
And the minute they see anything that looks disturbing, they're able to move, change plans on a dime.
Gotcha.
They've got plan E and F.
Right.
So they take a lot of precaution and care to make sure that students are safe on these trips. So, but they have backup contingencies if something did pop up. So
sure.
And that's what's really nice about having a company do this. Obviously, it would be a lot of work for me or Susie would probably end up doing it. Susie does everything. So I don't know that. She really is the principal. I don't know what I do, but it is nice to have that company, to take care of all those details.
So I know there's some turnover, some students left, some new students coming in. Do we have a lot of new families this year?
We do have a lot of new families.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number.
Right.
But it is a lot.
Well, I've been able to meet a few through just some early sports stuff, and I want to make sure these families understand and know how welcoming a community Ascension is. So, if you are a new family, please, reach out, say hello. Ascension, that's what we're known for, is how welcoming and how open this community is. So please do not be afraid to get involved. Come say hello, because everybody here is going to want to welcome you.
Absolutely. And then the back to school mass that Susie mentioned is the 22nd. That's a great time. That's the 10:30 a.m. mass. You come to mass, you celebrate, worship with us. And then following that, the donuts and everything. It's just a great time. It's a good place to be to come for new families, to meet families and get more involved that way. Learn a little bit more.
Well, I hope you got something out of this podcast. Again, we're going to try to do these more often, just to let you know what's going on at the Ascension community. Once again, this is Ascension School Podcast number 2.
That's right.
Terry, we got to do more of these, right?
Thank you, Teague. Thanks, Susie.
You're
Susie,
welcome.
thank you for being here.
Glad to be here. I survived it.
You survived. She was very nervous coming in, but
She
has
does great.
vodka under
She does
the desk.
great and everything else.
I might be able to get used to this.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, T.